What's up guys, Ryan here from Mud Gunner, and today we're talking about my top 3 favorite brands for rifle optics. We will also talk about a couple budget options in case you just need a budget option, but this video specifically is going to be about my favorite 3 optics that I like to run between guns. And it's just going to be more brand specific, not model specific, because I use a variety of models, but let's get into it. So I'm a big rifle guy at heart, if you guys didn't already know. I just love setting up rifles and I like buying quality parts. Now I mostly buy used because it does make it a lot more cost effective, and I work in a gun store where we get a lot of used optics. So just bear that in mind. I understand that these optics can be expensive brand new. I rarely buy anything brand new. With that being said, this is just my personal opinion on what I like. So if you don't like it, no worries. But we're going to talk about Trijicon first because Trijicon is a very well-known brand. They've been around for a long time and they are a pretty nice optic that is both used civilian-wise, military-wise, and law enforcement-wise. And especially with their pistol sights, their pistol optics have gained a lot of popularity over the years, and you see them a lot more in law enforcement, which honestly a few years ago wasn't as much of a thing, but nowadays almost every department gets optic guns or the option to run optics on there. So yeah, Trijicon is one of my favorites. This gun is actually one of my home defense guns, so it's chambered and everything, but I'm not going to unload it right now. This is a Trijicon MRO, so if you're looking for a decent red dot option from Trijicon for your gun, I like the MRO. It's just a basic red dot, and honestly most of these companies, when you say red dot, it really just is a red dot. So looking through them, it's not going to look any different than a Vortex red dot, a Holosun red dot, maybe even a $25 Amazon red dot. But what you're paying for is the quality of the brand. And normally some of these have like night vision features. This has a couple night vision options in the first settings, but you do have a good amount of brightness settings. I have ran lower price point red dots where you could have it on power 11, but it was like power 1 or 2 for something like this. So you are paying for the quality of being able to have a red dot bright optic. And especially here in Arizona, if I take a red dot out to the desert, if it's not quality, the desert just washes it out. So Trijicon, I've never had an issue with their red dot not being bright enough. And it's a very low profile, lightweight red dot. It takes a CR2032 battery, which is kind of one of those flat batteries. So it's got really good battery life. With a lot of these optics, the power range or how long it's gonna last you will vary, but on medium setting, these things should last you a few years. Maybe even more than 5 years, depending on how much you use it. Yeah, the MRO looks really good. I like it a lot. I don't have any experience running a magnifier behind it. So that's the other thing with talking about these brands is there's so many configurations you can run it in. I'm mainly just talking about the bare bones optic for the most part. So again, I've never ran the MRO under magnification. Pros and cons of this is it's just a red dot, but it does have a slight bluish hue. So looking through there, it's the faintest bluish tint, which does not bother me at all, especially outside. I don't even notice it. But if you are wondering, people have complained about the blue tint on an MRO red dot. So just go try it out before you buy it, just in case you don't like that. But again, it doesn't bother me. Another thing is you have a fairly small window, but as long as you're keeping both eyes open, when I look through there, I don't even notice it because you really just see everything that you're aiming at plus the red dot. But I know there are some people that close one eye when they're shooting. I'm not a fan of that. Don't necessarily recommend it. If that's what you have to do, then so be it. But that's just another thing to consider is you have basically a small little window where you're seeing the dot. So you have to have a good sight picture. Make sure you see your red dot. But with most red dots, I've never had that issue. So I just can point the gun and find my red dot right away. So you do have options for different height mounts. You can buy a lower 1/3 where it's going to sit a little bit taller, or you can buy a full co-witness, and they come from the factory in either way, or you can buy even taller mounts. So great option. I do like it. Also with Trijicon, one of the most popular optics has always been the ACOG. So the ACOG is a rifle scope, normally lower magnification. So this is a 3.5 power, or their most famous one probably is the 4x32. That's what a lot of the military uses. This does not require any batteries. It's just a rifle scope, but it does have a fiber optic sight in tritium. So it glows in the dark at night, and it is extremely bright under the daylight. And it's actually too bright at times. So some people will tape over this and peel off the tape as they need it. I've definitely noticed it being too bright out here in Arizona because, yeah, we got a lot of sunlight. And then on the side here, we have what's normally a pistol red dot. This is a Trijicon RMR, but they are also rifle rated. So you can run them on rifles, you can run them on pistols. This is an offset. So I have a 3-power magnified scope, or I just turn it and I have a 0 magnification red dot. It works really well. And yeah, these are just some of the options from Trijicon. They make so many, but these are just a few that I use. And then as far as, while we're still on the topic of Trijicon, I do like using their pistol optics, so the RMR or the RMR CC. I don't run any other brand's pistol sights, but I do run Trijicon's pistol sights on pistols and rifles, so they're rated for both, which is really cool. So yeah, that's just some of what I like about Trijicon, but they make a lot of great optics. I don't have any personal experience yet with their LPVOs, which is their low-powered variable optic, so it's like a 1:6, 1:8, or their VCOG, so I don't have any experience with that, but I'd like to at some point. I really just have experience with the red dots and the ACOG. So next up, we'll talk about Aimpoint, because I think when you talk Trijicon, you also get Aimpoint involved because they do similar stuff. I wouldn't say one's that much better than the other. Red dot wise, Aimpoints are actually pretty expensive on the red dots. Now, I don't know what determines the price settings of these, right? But when you look at a lot of Aimpoint red dots, you're looking in that $800 to $1,200 range for just a red dot, where that MRO is about $500. Now they make some more expensive ones up to like $800, but they don't have, at least not right now that I can think of, they don't have like $1,000 red dot option. So Aimpoint does really have a lot more expensive option. Now I can't tell you the quality wise between the two, because looking through it, again, you looking through this, you just see a red dot, you see a red dot on that, or you buy a $100 one, you see a red dot. So I can understand why some people are like, why do I want to spend $1,000 on that when I could buy a red dot for $100? I get it. And I can't tell you the scientific answers as to why this is that much better, but proven wise, again, military, law enforcement, I saw a picture where one of these was in a fire, so the optic was burnt to a crisp and it still turned on. Do I want to risk that with, putting mine in the oven for a few hours and seeing how it holds up? No, but it's just nice knowing that, there's a lot of either torture tests or just examples of these things surviving the most horrific conditions. And also just durability, being able to drop it and it still retains zero. It really does have a good battery life. It's got great durability. Looking through it, again, it's also a micro red dot, so I have no issues, but you have a very small window that you're actually looking through. But as long as you keep both eyes open, you shouldn't have any issues. Depending on which one you buy, they do have a lot of theirs with night vision settings. This is probably one of their most famous ones. This is the Aimpoint T2, and it's not even in its factory configuration. We added a LaRue mount on here, and then we have a Knights Armament battery cap that allows it to store one more battery. So it's got one powering it and one just storage in there. So even though you start out with like a $800 or $900 optic, you can still add to it to make it kind of what you want. But yeah, they have a variety of options. If you're looking for one of Aimpoint's more budget-friendly options, they have the RDS, which is about $500, or they have the Aimpoint Pro, which I have over here. And this is also one of my home defense setups, so it's chambered and everything. But the Aimpoint Pro, you get their quality optic, and these brand new are about $500. Used, you can actually find these pretty often. Like we have a used one in our store right now for like $350, which isn't bad. So I've actually bought a lot of, again, most of these are all used. I buy a lot of used Aimpoint Pros because they're much more affordable, and they still have that quality of like the $800 to $1,000 optic. But they come at the cost of being a little bit bigger. So you have this big knob right here. This is how you loosen it or tighten it. It doesn't require any tools, and it clicks once it's tight enough. But yeah, this one also takes a CR2 battery, so it's a slightly different battery. But it's, again, a very quality optic. I've had no issues with it. So yeah, they offer a variety of red dot options. Again, if you're gonna buy a budget one, I would say the Pro or the RDS, those are both about $500. If you're looking for their higher end optics, you have the Comp series, like the Comp M4 or the M5. I don't have an M5, but I do have an M4. And those are, again, just as good as the T series, like that T2 I just showed you. The Comp M4 is a little bit bigger. It takes a AA battery, and then the Comp M5 is smaller and it takes a AAA battery, I believe. I don't have one of those yet, but I believe that's what it takes. The other thing is, if you buy an optic that takes a AA or AAA battery, I highly recommend running a lithium battery, because if you use an alkaline battery, have you ever had something that you haven't touched in a minute and then you pick it up and it's not working, and then you open it and that alkaline battery exploded in there? I've had that happen with optics. So a lot of optics will ship with alkaline batteries, but I don't recommend you running them long-term in there, because when I bought this thing had signs of alkaline bleeding out of it from batteries. I've had an alkaline battery destroy an EOTech. Yeah, alkaline batteries just tend to leak or explode inside optics, and It hasn't killed my aim point yet, but it did kill one of my EOTechs. So yeah, highly recommend lithium batteries. They're a little bit more expensive, but it's much cheaper to buy a lithium battery than it is to replace your optic. So yeah, the Comp series is also a good one. But yeah, Aimpoint's really more well known for their red dot sights. They also do a pistol sight called the Acro. I don't have one of those yet, but I'd like to try one at some point. I'm sure they make some other options as well, but the main thing, as far as I know, is really just the red dot series. And then honestly, it's the last thing we're showing, but probably one of my favorite optics is the EOTech. So I'd say sight picture wise, EOTech has my favorite sight picture. You have basically a dot with a circle. If you've played almost any video game or action video game, you've probably used an EOTech at some point. It is a different style of emitting a red dot, so it's a holographic sight versus these are like reflex sights. So the technology on how it's displayed on the screen is different, and it does look a little fuzzy, but outdoors I don't notice it as much. Indoors it is a little bit fuzzier, but once you have it zeroed, basically anything close range you're gonna hit. So again, these are meant for self-defense purposes or law enforcement, military, whatnot. So you basically have the donut of death, and as long as the gun's zeroed, if you point it at what you're aiming at, you're gonna hit it. So even though it's kind of a bigger sight picture close range, it'll still work very effectively, and then you can shoot it out to distance no problem. So EOTech, they really just focus on, well, I mean, for the longest time, they focused on their holographic sights. Now they do a pistol dot sight. I haven't heard the greatest reviews of their pistol sight yet. I don't have any personal experience with it, but I've heard hit or miss. They also make the LPVOs now, which is their Voodoo series. I've heard good things about those. I just don't have any experience with it. So my only experience with EOTech personally is just through their holographic sights, but I have more of these than any other optic. I probably have maybe 15 to 20 of these, so I really like them. They have a variety of options for basically just mounting batteries, stuff like that. I'll give you a quick rundown of kind of how they work, because I know they have a variety of models. So if you buy an XPS series, that's normally a direct mount by screw. If you buy an EXPS series, they have a quick detach lever here, which I have one right here. So EXPS normally means it has a quick detach lever. XPS means it direct mounts by like a tightening screw. You have the 512 option, or similar options that take AA batteries. Again, run lithium, because I killed one of these with alkaline batteries. And what's funny with that is they warrantied it for me, but they said, oh, we recommend using lithium batteries. I'm like, well, you guys ship them with alkaline batteries. So I thought that was kind of funny. I think it's due to shipping laws, but yeah, honestly, just replace the alkaline batteries that they come with lithium, and you shouldn't have any issues. So 512 and I think like the 518 are AA's. Anything XPS or EXPS are all the CR123 batteries, and you get really good life out of them. But the one thing with EOTech versus Aimpoint or Trijicon, you cannot leave these on. You have to basically just turn them on when you're ready to use it. I know for law enforcement or military, that's kind of a bummer, because for those guys, you never know when you're gonna need your gun. So I understand why that could be a problem for them, because battery life is not as great as these, because it draws a lot of power to basically power that holographic sight. So you have to turn it on when you're ready to use it. I think after 4 hours, it'll automatically shut off. But honestly, if you use it often, you're gonna have to change the battery every couple months or so. So yeah, not as great, but it's my favorite sight picture. Like, it's weird. So, and it's also about twice the weight of a lot of these optics. So it's bigger and heavier, but it's my favorite sight picture, my favorite reticle to use. So just bear that in mind. But again, these are all name brand optics. This is nothing new. You guys have probably already heard about these, so this might just be me confirming what you already want to buy. I like them all for different reasons, but EOTech is my favorite to look through. Battery life wise, the Aimpoint or Trijicon are great, or you just buy an ACOG and you don't have to worry about batteries. But the way I see it, if you're using this for self-defense or using this for military, government work, whatnot, batteries is like the cheapest subscription you could buy, right? I know some guys, like, even though these batteries will last years, I know some law enforcement guys that'll change them out every 6 months or every year, just because you don't want to pick it up and not have it work. So you figure $2 battery every 6 months or once a year, again, that's the cheapest subscription that could potentially save your life. That's the way I see it. And these are quality optics, and they should not fail you when you need them. So I do like them. And besides that, I'll give you guys a couple quick, just lower price point options if you don't want to spend $500 plus, because honestly, these are all $500 plus. HoloSun makes good stuff for the money. I don't have experience with their pistol sights, but I do have a bunch of their $200 like their 403 series, which kind of looks like an aim point. So they make an aim point clone for about 200 bucks. I have a few of those, and I mainly put them on my fun guns or just my range toys, not stuff that I like for self-defense. Now, I get that I'm past the point of practical. I have a lot of rifle setups. Again, it's my passion. I really enjoy it, and I like sharing it with you guys. So yeah, I understand that it's probably overkill, but I like running the $200 Holosuns on my more just fun range guns that would never have a self-defense purpose for me. And then I also like the SIG Romeo 5. I have a couple of those. And then I do like the Vortex optics. I have a couple of their optics. I had some issues with their Venoms, which are like just more micro sights that I was running on some guns. But their Crossfire red dots seem nice. As of right now, the only Vortex sights I have are the Strike Eagles, which is an LPVO, or the Razor HD, which is also an LPVO. It's just a much nicer one. Besides that, I don't have many of their other optics right now. So yeah, Vortex, Holosun, and SIG sights are the good budget sights, and my favorite, like military law enforcement grade sights, would be Trijicon, Aimpoint, EOTech. I also got an Elcan about a month ago or 2 months ago now, so I'm really liking that, but Elcans are way up there in price, and I don't have enough experience on it to really say anything great about it or not yet, but so far I do really like it. I've watched a lot of reviews on it, so it's kind of like someone passes information to me, and then I'm just passing it to you guys, but we all kind of just build our own opinions over the course of time using these optics. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If there's any optics you'd like to see on the channel, just comment down below, or any breakdowns of specific Aimpoint, Trijicon, or EOTechs that you'd like to see, let me know. So thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for my next video.